So we're super excited to have Alma Russo from AR Interiors with us today. Alma has been a very highly sought after interior designer in the Monmouth Ocean area, right? From actually New York City all the way down to Florida, out west. I mean,
Yes.
you have clients who want you to do all their houses all over the country. So we're really excited to have you here, Alma.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started, where you are.
Sure. So we're actually located in Seagirt, New Jersey. We have a fabulous team of 5 women, so 4 full-time. I consider them my family. Our jobs are truly collaborative. We work together. I say all the time, I could not do what I do without them. They are amazing and super talented. So I feel really blessed to be in the field that we're in because we get to work with great people. We get to do exciting things. I feel pretty blessed to do what we do every day.
It has to be one of the best feelings to take a house, take a vision, have it come to life, and then just see the reaction of your clients, right? That
Yes.
this is their home and you alone work together to bring it to what their vision was. Or maybe they didn't have a vision.
Yeah, so we do work with all kinds of clients. So some are super collaborative, and others, pretty much say, "Here's the keys to the house," kind of run free. And they both work out great when we do things like that. We take it. Most of our projects are new construction, so we take it from concept to procurement to execution, installment, and then the big reveal, which we're doing currently right now, which we came from. And and we do have great clients for
So
sure.
you'll work directly with the architect, like from the very, very beginning?
Yes. So that's how we really like to work best, because we all see something different. So an architect sees something, a builder sees something. People from our team see something, and I feel like we bring something different to the table. So we really try to get into the nitty-gritty of how people live. So whether you have, 3 dogs, 5 children, or are single and you love to entertain, love to have a library with, 1,000 books, all of those things kind of factor in. And for us, we really fine-tune that and make sure that form and function really marry nicely together.
Wow, so it's so much more than just window placement,
Yeah.
wall placement.
Yes.
Arches, the door openings.
Yes.
Do you work with builders from the get-go normally, or is it normally end user clients that you work with, or both?
Yeah, so a lot of times we come in at the same time. We'll a lot of times bring in our builders, which is great because we have a history together. Other times clients have a history with their builders, and we work nicely with them. But the best projects for us are we're really before we even break ground, and we're there from the earliest stages, and we're looking at construction docs and plans and all of that. And I feel like that creates the best project.
Right. Because what's the saying? Measure.
Yeah.
What's the saying? Measure
twice, cut once.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're not fixing errors or mistakes or wrong placement of something early on, you're starting
fresh.
Exactly the way you want it to be from the beginning.
Exactly.
So it makes things smoother.
Exactly. And I feel like for us, we try to make sure that we don't have that forbidden red line on any of our plans, because it costs the client money. And we really try to make sure that whatever we're doing, we kind of stick to that course of action. And that's why we really do like to get in from those early stages.
How long did it take you to learn how to read plans? Like, people will be like, "Oh, my friends will do renovations and they'll send me," because they know I'm in and out of a lot of houses. But I look at them and I'm like, looks good to me. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's hard.
It is hard. And I do think that that's so important. And that's why I almost do think if you can bring in someone professional, it is super helpful, because mistakes are costly.
They are.
So things like scale and where door openings are and
lights
and all of those things. So there are things like code and compliance that we have to, always work around.
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately. But I do feel like really important things, your closet doors opening into nightstands. Those are things that sometimes, the regular homeowner won't see. And it's really important. Bed placement, window placement. That's really outlet placement.
Right. Switch placement.
Please don't put, thermostats in the middle of a wall.
I have my thermostat in my house is there's 3 windows at it, so the house is never the right temperature.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
I never
crazy.
would have thought about that though.
Yeah, it's crazy. So even outlets, things as simple as putting outlets into your baseboard. I think it's a great trick, and it doesn't kind of busy up a space. You don't see it. We can make sure that your floor outlets are in the perfect space for your end tables and things like that. So if you can hire a professional, it doesn't have to be our team. Find someone that you really work with and that you connect with, and I think it helps with costs in the long run.
Because your favorite saying that you taught me is the devil is in the
details.
Always, with everything in life, right?
Everything in life.
So, I think people could get very caught up in maybe just buying the house or building the house or, I don't know, falling in love with this couch, and they're not looking at the big picture. Your people are so trained to always see the big picture as well as all the small little details, right? Because your other saying, what was your other saying? Only one thing gets to be the prom queen.
Yes.
Wait, how does that go?
So
Yeah.
I remember that.
You taught me so much. You really did.
Yes.
Yeah. Only one item, like only one focal point in a room gets to be the prom queen, which makes sense, and then everything kind of plays off of that.
And we've all been in houses where there's many, many prom queens.
Yeah, and you get headache, right? You don't even know where to look. And you just take it all away because it's going to be too much for the camera. So now we're down to a mirror and a couch. Yeah. So Alma, with people who are thinking about, obviously starting a whole new build, that answered all those questions. But what about people who just wanted to update their house? I always say it's hard to just do one room because that one room then just stands out. Like if a house is dated, it's all cohesive. So it's kind of a little bit easier on the eyes. And then if they suddenly decide to just do one room, it sort of makes everything else in the house look old, right? So what would be some advice for people who are living in their house? They don't want to move, they just want to update it or something. Is it as easy as a paint color, maybe some refreshed furniture? What would be an easy piece of advice to give to some homeowners?
Yes. So depending on which decade your house is stuck in, I think refreshing with paint is great. Certainly if you can do it yourself, even better. I also think there are certain items from certain decades, where builders were overzealous with millwork, I think is sometimes a challenge, where there's, lots of very ornate details.
Layer upon layer.
Layer upon layer. So sometimes actually extracting rather than adding actually really, really helps, where you have your millwork. If you have, a chair rail in the middle of a bedroom, it may not be beneficial. And if you take it out, sometimes it feels better. And it's a quick, inexpensive fix that you can
bigger and
do.
higher.
Exactly.
Walls.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, did you notice that Alma said, she said the decade. So we had Chris Casola on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he sort of said the same thing. Shrubbery, your landscaping has a 10-year life.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with houses.
Yes.
I mean, we walk into houses now and they have custom drapery, the valances from, 1990, 1980, who even knows?
I can't
and
believe
they're
they
they were
paid for
so expensive. We don't want to get rid of them. And I'm like, but if you do, your house will just look so much younger, right? You open up that window. People don't like change sometimes.
No.
And when it's their house, they're so used to what they have.
I feel like the early 2010s now are the old 1970s, like the mustard and the red.
Yes.
People think now that that's
Tuscany.
ancient, even though
It is.
Tuscany, even though it was only 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it's 100
It's a 10-year
years ago.
rule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a 10-year rule. It's not updated if it's more than 10 years,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so what other great pieces of advice would you have for people, that we deal with that are maybe either looking to, they decided to stay, but they want to refresh it, or they're looking to sell?
Yes. So I think color is a great point. I also think extraction is also something
I like
really
that.
good.
I
Yeah,
like that,
think,
yes.
and I think even what we say all the time, scale. Scale is so important. And I think your regular homeowner is buying from, online and things like that. And I always say, check the dimensions, because the reason sometimes a product costs less is because it's so much smaller without even actually going into it and noticing it. If a nightstand is 19 inches high, there's a mistake, unless you're sleeping on the floor. There's a mistake. So really check your dimensions. And, if you don't have access to all the technical things that we have, like CAD and everything else, do the old fashioned thing. Go get brown paper, put it down on your floor, see that things kind of work and connect. And also, even if you're refreshing and you think, okay, this is the trend currently right now, don't dive too deeply into that trend, because all trends, we can look at trends, from 3 years ago, and it's okay to have something small from that, but don't dive into it where your whole house is kind of revolving around that trend. And I also feel like make sure you have things from different periods. So if you're maybe super modern, put an antique in there and have something that feels like this is, and I think that's also where maybe an expert comes in. Yeah. But I think having a mix of things gives you longevity in your home. If you dive into that 2010 Tuscan phase, red and yellow, it's but if you have one piece from, actual Tuscany, then it works. So I think it's okay to have that trend at that time. Just don't have everything kind of revolve around that trend.
Yeah. Good point.
No more live, laugh, love on the
live, laugh, love.
Yes, those signs all gone, right?
No more live,
the family
laugh,
rules.
yeah.
We love each other, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you think the new, what do you see coming? Like if someone was to start doing their house tomorrow, what do you think would be the next? That probably changes by.
It does. And I
take that back, because it changes what they're doing down at the shore than what they're doing in middle New Jersey somewhere or Florida. Yeah, right? Yeah. Because that really, the location, the culture of certain areas really dictates, I think, how certain houses work, right?
Yeah, and how the family lives. And I think it goes back to, even if you live at the beach. If you live at the beach for, 90 days, it's a lot different than if you spend every holiday there. So right. I think that also does dictate it. And I feel like everybody's narrative is really different. So, but I think as far as what we're seeing right now is we're definitely seeing a lot of pattern. People are going very heavy on pattern.
Wallpaper?
Yes, lots of wallpaper. Now, we've always been a fan of wallpaper. You know that, your house. So I don't think wallpaper's ever really a mistake. Maybe if you're doing something that feels very trendy. But if you want to kind of delve into the wallpaper trend, I think if you go with texture, you will get longevity out of it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I also feel that there's rules to be broken. If you really love something that has a ton of pattern and it brings you joy, your home should bring you joy. Dive into the lots of pattern. You're the one living there.
Okay, so you just reminded me of another nugget of information that you taught me. If you like it, buy it, because it'll fit somewhere in your house. Like you might buy it for the dining room and it doesn't work, but if you really like that piece, Alma taught me that it might go in the kitchen or the bedroom or the hallway or something. Like if you love it, buy it, because you'll find a spot for it.
What's your advice for people with little kids? Because I have pumped the brakes on hiring a designer in my house, because I'm not going to pay a lot for my kids to destroy it with their peanut butter hands. And do you have more livable solutions?
I do. So
plastic on the couches.
Actually, I think we've come so far with performance fabrics that I think that you can live with children. It used to be, I think, you can live with your kids.
They won't really and paint too, right? The washable paint.
Exactly. But I do feel like we've come so far with performance fabrics, and not all performance fabrics are created equal. When we give clients little memos of them, we say, do the pasta sauce test, do the peanut butter and jelly test, actually put it on it and see if you can wash it off. And you really can wash it off. There are certain fabrics that inherently will wear well. So I think if Perennials is a brand that we advocate for and use a lot because they're very high quality performance. There's patterns. Obviously, you can use a darker color, but I think performance fabrics. I have always lived with light colored sofas in my house. I have 4 children, 2 dogs, and they've worn well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just don't be cheap.
Yeah. Exactly.
But like everything, you pay for what you get, you know, what you get.
Yeah.
You pay for what you get. And I think that that's a misconception too. I think that people think you need to be very wealthy and have a lot of money to hire a designer. But I think that there's ways that you can work and tailor the budget towards what the customer wants to spend, right? Without giving up your style, you know what I'm saying? Like your ability to make them happy.
Absolutely.
People can work around that, right? So they should look into, you know, like you said, hiring you or somebody else because it really makes a big difference. And when you're investing so much money in your house, you do want to be happy and you do want it to last.
Yeah. And I do think that sometimes when you purchase something and you don't really love it, and then you have to repurchase again, it actually costs more money.
It does.
So it does. So I do sometimes think, speak to a designer or even if it's again for yourself, collect those Pinterest images, keep them, really kind of calculate what you do love, what resonates with you and what you don't love.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's super helpful when you're purchasing. And if you are purchasing on your own, really look at dimensions more than anything. Look at the lamp. Make sure the lamp is, at least 27 inches high.
And use the painter's tape to mark it out, right?
Exactly. So I think, and again, if you hire designers, they're actually doing lighting elevations for you. So we're seeing where that light's going to hit. Your contractor really won't make mistakes because they have that nice laminated sheet of paper where everything's going. But I do think homeowners can do things on their own, collect those Pinterest images, really keep a nice catalog of what you love, and you can do it yourself.
Right. And I think an example that I just thought of too is something when you're working from the very beginning and you're looking at the long, the big picture, the end result, if you're getting, let's call it a round dining room table or a rectangular one or a square one, and that will change where your chandelier is going in the ceiling. So you might just put it in the center and then deal with the table later, but then you realize it's not matching up the right way. Yep. So now either you got to get a different table or move that. It can get expensive.
It can. And look at your beautiful home. You have 2 light fixtures in your dining room.
I do.
So that has to be scaled,
right.
correctly.
Yeah.
And even artwork. And I think for if you have the time to do your research, do your research. Even for artwork, a lot of times homeowners will hang their artwork too low, too high. Quick rule of thumb is hang your artwork at eye level, just at 60 inches. Mm-hmm. Keep it at 60 inches at 5 feet. So that way if you're a little more petite or you're a little taller, it tends to work. So if you keep the middle point at 60 inches, your middle point of your picture, it's a good rule of thumb. And there's a lot of good rules of thumb that you can find yourself.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, Alma, if any of our people wanted to reach out to you, what are your you're located in Seagirt.
We're located in Seagirt, yep. So our website is arinteriorsllc.com.
Okay.
We are on Instagram, AR Interiors LLC. And there's all the information to reach out to us by phone or by email. But
following Alma on Instagram is one of my greatest joys because
you are very sweet.
You can truly see how excited they get, and your whole team gets excited.
They are amazing.
They're literally dancing around rooms when you're doing, when the room is all coming together. And she still might say, it's not done yet, but just wait. And then this gorgeous lamp or chandelier or the wall unit or something, suddenly appears, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
I love looking at the rugs and the floors that you do. Like you just said, you're working on you just did a big project tonight, right?
Yes. So we just came from an install. We'll be at the install all week. It's a beautiful house in Manaloking on the bay. And it's just gorgeous. It's a really large home. And our team is fortunate enough to work with incredible people. And we do have a lot of fun. We stay very late, play very loud music. Yeah, we do.
Because you like to do the reveal everything as
All
much
at
as it
once.
can be all at once.
Yes,
She doesn't
all at
bring it in
once.
and piecemeal.
Yeah. So you get the whole feeling, and that makes a lot of sense.
Feeling,
It
right,
makes
right.
sense. Otherwise, that one stray, pillow doesn't make any sense.
Do you get pushback from the homeowners about being like, you have to leave?
So they pretty much know from the beginning that we work a certain way, and you can't be on site when we're doing installations. So since most of our projects are new build, it's great because they're not on site.
Yeah.
So it's great. And then we have, all of our wonderful fabricators and vendors and, people that we've worked with for years, installing, touching up paint, hanging pictures. That's tomorrow. We're making beds. We're steaming your sheets. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on with that.
Wow.
So yeah. So it's
so special.
Yeah, it really is. And we do have a great time. We want to make our clients happy. It makes us happy to see them happy. So it is. It's
the greatest feeling, right?
It
Yeah.
is.
It makes staying up until midnight,
Like both of you, yes.
ironing sheets, all worth it.
Yes. Not the most fun, but yes.
But you make it fun because the people you surround yourself with make it fun, right?
do.
You all have the same vision, the same goal.
We do.
And your clients love you. That's why they,
that's
they
sweet.
bring you to
We love
Florida.
them.
Yeah, but I see you go a lot of places. You go Florida. I know you do Manhattan a lot.
Yeah.
What level of detail do you do? Do you really iron the sheets?
We do. We steam the sheets. So we're there. And I'm going to keep on going back to my team because they are so amazing. So even if I don't see something, they will catch it. So the sheets are steamed. The flowers are perfectly cut in the vases. So that reveal, we want it to be as special and bespoke for our clients as we can make it. But again, it is definitely an army that does it.
Do you feel like it robs the joy out of the rest of your life? For me, it does. Like having all that detail orientation. I'm like, when I go in my own house, I'm like, oh my God.
You know what? Sometimes it does. I think, it's funny that you say that because I think we sometimes design for designers in our own homes. And I had one of my team members who were working from our house the other day because we were up north. And I said, there's too much sheen on this one particular painting. And she said, I wouldn't have noticed that, but now you brought it to my attention. And it's weird details that we see that probably other people don't see that will drive us completely bonkers.
And then once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Can't unsee it,
Yeah.
So that's why we need to dance at, 11 o'clock when we're still at a project. Yeah.
Crazy. I know. And you crack me up. She wears all her beautiful shoes on these construction sites. She's like a ballet dancer.
You're
it's
very
just
sweet.
amazing what you do.
You're
And we're so grateful to have you here.
Thank you so
and
much.
I
You
think our
ladies are great.
viewers will definitely follow you and you'll enrich their lives, even if it's just looking at the beautiful homes and rooms that you put together, because they really, really are so very special. You've been in so many magazines.
Oh, thank you.
You're really such an acclaimed designer. I'm so happy for
Thank
you.
You guys are amazing. I'm so impressed by the two of you. So thank you so much for letting me be part of this. It was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.